So here we are at the clarifiers, and it looks like you have two clarifiers, Nate.
Clarifiers right now.
Which one's one? Which one's two?
We have clarifier 1 and clarifier 2.
That's clarifier 1. That's clarifier 2.
Both secondary clarifiers.
They come from the oxidation ditch. Come in here through. Where's your stuff coming at?
So we have a standpipe that comes up, and the sludge actually, the mixed liquor actually comes in, and then gets separated as it comes down.
Mixed liquor. That's a term I have not heard yet.
We call it activated.
Mixed liquor is fine if that's what we call it in the industry, right? I've heard that term before, so it's, but and then you guys have this rake arm going across the top.
So that's our skimmer arm, and basically it'll take any scum or whatnot that surfaces, push it in the trough, it goes down, and then goes back to the head of the plant.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think Donnie's had rake arms on them for whatever reason. But it is moving slowly, isn't it? And then
The scraper's underneath there, that's actually the sludge will settle. And the scraper arm at the bottom will actually keep it level, keep it pushed towards the
and the return pumps we're going to look at next, where that return activated sludge goes to, right? So that's the clean water coming off the top of your clarifiers, coming over those little triangle doodads, right? All right, now we're back to where that came from. It came off the clarifiers. This is the return activated sludge, or RAS known in the industry. So it came off those two clarifiers we just looked at, comes back over the weir and goes back into the oxidation ditch.
Yep.
In the outer ditch. This, I just pointed. So the outer ditch is the first one we came to. It's this outer ring. So this stuff is going into that ring. We're live. Let's go down these stairs. Let's look at pumps. Are always cool. I love pumps. In this case, these are what's called their return activated sludge pumps. It pulls the sludge off, and then it's going to pump them back over to that area we showed you at the oxidation ditch. Or out to waste. So the water coming off the top of those clarifiers go through this, which is, again, you saw this at Twin Cities. It's a Parshaw flume level sensor right there. Reads the level. As the level goes up, means you got more flow based on having a known restriction. You saw a better image of a Parshaw flume in the Twin Cities, but you said this is UV. Oh, we're going to that next. This is just your flow meter. So now we're heading to that water is pretty much treated in full right now, correct?
Correct. It is for the winter.
At least for the winter. So you have a different blend, just like gasoline, right? Winter and summer.
Yeah. So in winter months we don't have to disinfect.
Okay.
We already pulled our bulbs at the end of October.
Okay.
The bulbs will typically go here, sit in there, and hot fluid will run through the bulbs.
Where's my counterpart? I was going to have him pull one of the grids so we can see the bulb racks. The racks for the bulb. There you go. All right. So at Twin Cities, we didn't pull the grids off, and they already pulled their bulbs out. Otherwise, you'd see they pretty much look like fluorescent bulbs, don't they?
Yeah.
So these long tubes, they create UV and treat the actual water. You can see the water flowing from what we just looked at, that partial bloom. It's coming over these weirs, it's being slowed a little, so the UV in the summertime has an opportunity to work. And then it's going to go to the outfall, which we're going to see here in a second. And just like Twin Cities and Effluence, they have a sampler. And the sampler, just like at Twin Cities, they're required to take physical samples of their effluent water to make sure it's fully treated, that there's no extra chemicals in it, etc., etc. And they take it to their lab. I'll take a picture of that here in a little bit. And they analyze it to make sure it's safe to be discharged. Is that pretty accurate, Nate?
Yep.
I don't want to step on your toes. I do the controls, you do the process. So just correct me if I'm wrong, because I could easily be. All right, so we're leaving the UV and going to where it goes next, which is their Cascade aerator? Cascade
Yeah,
something,
Cascade. Basically reintroduces some oxygen.
Yeah. And here it is. We actually took a picture of this as we were driving in today after Calvin and I went flying past the plant. But this is their Cascade aerator. That is not a set of stairs that you walk down, or I guess you could if you wanted to. It wouldn't hurt anything. But that water from the UV system is coming out here and down. So what's the Cascade part for?
Just reintroduce the DO oxygen into the water.
So what are those big steps for?
So if you're running low on DO, you can pull that gate and then it'll actually come over here and it has more opportunity.
Oxygenate. Ah, like a waterfall at that point. Sweet. There's Calvin up there. Hey, Calvin. Yeah, so if they need more oxygen, they open that gate, and then the water starts flowing down this set of stairs, add not a little extra oxygen at each thing, and in both cases, it ends up going down that little tube there. And that tube is going to lead us to the outflow, which is, so say again.
So as it goes down, if you can see that sign, that's the outfall for the plant where it gets put into the South Fork of Sugarcreek.
Which we can walk down to there. Here we are. We just got out of that Cascade aerator, and this is an intermediate point where the clean water is heading toward the river. Is there any real purpose for this? Not real. Nate just shook his shoulders and said no. So this is just fancy, and some engineer wanted to make some extra money for some reason, right? So as Nate was getting ready to put this on the cover, I asked Calvin, you know why manhole covers are round, right?
And I do not.
And Calvin does not. Why are manhole covers round, Nate?
It's a shape that can't fall inside of itself.
That is what I have been told, and now Nate confirms that. If these were square or rectangular, they would have a chance to fall through. But being round, as you can see from the position Nate has it, it's just going to stay there forever. There's no way it can. And from here, it goes underground to the river. And Nate says that sign right there is the outfall into that little creek. There's a little creek back there. I'm not going to walk across this cornfield. You can take my word for it. It looks like it's a muddy mess today in Ohio. So that is the creek. And there's a little bridge going over the creek of the road that we came down. So, all right, so we just came out of their RAS pump room and their clarifiers. Okay, so we're going to their waste area, which is called a digester in this case. Or walking through is more interesting. So we're gonna walk up to their digester here, see what it looks like from the top view, not just concrete. We just walked up that long set of stairs, and this is where the stuff off the clarifier, the bad stuff's coming off, right?
So yeah, the activated stuff will shut it out in the clarifier, and then you have the option to either return it back to aeration. But every once in a while you have to waste it out because you have too many solids. So once a week we usually waste between 15 to 20,000 gallons, and then we'll have it hauled off site and stuff.
Awesome. You sure do have a lot of them. I guess 3, right?
Yep.
These are empty. Nothing really going on there, right?
No, if we were holding sludge, there's bubblers, we have blowers, and then that's what the bubblers would be introducing DO to them.
Gotcha. So similar to an aeration plant that do it all the time, you guys would do that as necessary to your sludge.
Yeah.
What's adding oxygen to your sludge do for you?
It keeps the bugs alive just so they keep eating, and then...
There's that term bugs again. You have bugs in your oxidation ditch, don't you? That's something we didn't even talk about. They're using the same process, right?
Yeah, activated sludge.
Your
Active, it's got microbes in it. Other treatment, the influent that comes in with wastewater.
and that's all done in your oxidation ditches, right?
Right.
Okay, now we're back into their main building. And I mentioned samplers a few minutes ago. And this is their lab. And this is where they can bring those samples and they can analyze them to make sure that their treatment process is doing what it's supposed to do. And then they can report all the good news to the EPA and everybody is happy. Hey, here's the UV bulbs. They have their racks of spare bulbs. And that is a great shot of what a UV bulb system looks like. So there you go. That was in the effluent channel there. And then this is what we do for a living. This is our control panel. This is actually monitoring and controlling various things around this plant that are starting and stopping and returning and etc. Here, let me open up the panel. Actually, it shouldn't be anything new or exciting here. We've looked at similar panels to this at Twin Cities. This is what a control panel looks like with all the different components that we're used to seeing. We got our surge protectors for our instrumentation that lead the building. We have our terminal blocks here. We have our control relays here, coming across here. We have our network equipment and our data command Zeus, which is sending all the information that we just went through up to data command, where we can store it and they can interact with it if they choose. We got our typical power supply and circuit protections. The brains of the operation right here, the PLC and all of its various IOs, digital inputs, digital outputs, analog inputs, analog outputs. In our case, we have a little, and it's a little archaic, but it still works, wireless that goes to a couple other control panels around the site that I did not show in this trip, but if you'd like to see those, I'm sure Nate would have us back and we could take pictures of those as well. And then the most important thing, UPS for surge protection and battery backup. And then this one, we're in the garage where that control panel was. This is a picture of a city truck, does all their maintenance, allows them to pull pumps from different things. What else does this truck do for you?
Yeah, pretty much just our utility truck, pumps, submersible pumps through with our counter lift stations and whatnot.
Yeah, delivers lunch.
Can sometimes.
Excellent. The more important stuff in life. And you're not manned 24/7, are you, Nate?
No.
So they do have a SCADA computer, which locally allows them to look at their stuff when they're here, but as you can see, they also have data command, which we are not logged into right now, but in any case. And this SCADA allows them to see what's going on in their plant. So our next stop, since we've gone through the plant, is the water actually coming into the plant from other parts of the city. That lift station I showed you earlier was just everything coming to the plant, and then that took it up into the grit building. So this is their main lift station for this plant. It's called the IGA lift station. We're going to be visiting that very next. So this allows them to see their information and what's going on with that lift station, and it utilizes our data command system to send information into the SCADA package in this case. So we aren't using any kind of radios or DSL modems or anything, so it's totally secure. Okay, here we are at the IGA lift station. Just showed you that on the screen. Lift station's here. Like most lift stations, not much to see from the top.
Well, let's go out and take a closer look.
And here we are on the outside. Pretty much that will have the pumps inside of it, I think. Or that's a generator, right?
Yep.
So they got the generator there and our controls here, and you can see our data command cellular antenna here, taking all that good information from the station here up to data command, and then finally it lands at the plant so they can, when they're there, they can see it. So we've seen lift stations before. There you go. For my man Mauricio, who does all our animation, here's what it looks like. So as you can see, I do have a question for you, Nate, that came up from one of our readers. So the pumps have the chain falls coming up, right? How do you get a pump out?
So they're on the rail system.
Okay.
Compressor saw earlier has a crane on it.
Okay.
And we will connect to that chain and then pull it up to either one pole or two poles.
Do you have to disconnect everything?
They sit in a tube.
Okay, might have to look that up because I wasn't sure of that. Mauricio asked me the question. Yeah, so for one of our viewers asked, where do those pipes end up going? So we're going to show you. In this case, they come over here. And this is a valve pit. So I gave the wrong information to somebody, but Nate has corrected me. So he is going to open it up here for us. And here's where they come. So in this case, those three that I just showed you come through the wall here into this, what they call valve pits. Check valves keep the flow from going back.
Yep, when one pump's running, those check valves, the blue valves there, will shut so that you can't pump around just back into the pit.
Ah. All right, what's the big one there?
The one here, it's a bypass just in case your lift station would go down.
Ah.
You could connect to that.
And use an external pump to pump it out? And then, so those all combine into this pipe here, right?
Yep, and then that's a force main, a 6-inch force main that runs from here all the way to 39 in front of the car wash.
Gotcha. So Nate, tell me, do most lift stations have valve pits like this?
So most of your bigger lift stations will have valve pits like this that you can actually physically shut the valves off when you have to actually pull a pump. And then you'll have your check valves. Then you'll get into smaller lift stations. We have some 2-horse grinder pumps that just have everything inside the actual wet well.
So you only have one pipe coming out and pumping up to the plant?
Yep.
Awesome.
Or wherever it's dropped.
Or wherever it's to the next lift station.
Yep.
Cool. Make our money on the control panel itself. Although we make more money on the automation and monitoring, the control panels themselves are typically built by some firm outside. These have some variable speed drives, some manual pump controls for turn things on off if something would happen with their automation. And then on this side we have the automation, an old annunciator that they don't need anymore because they have data command to do that remotely, and a little operator interface here that when they're out here they're able to see what their pumps are doing without opening up the hatches. They can do various changes of state off of this, so it's not a bad thing to have. Some power. So here's the inside of it, or the back side of that door that we just looked at is right there, and all that wiring goes into all this stuff here. Some of this stuff isn't being used anymore, but a lot of it still is. Some time delay relays for doing the pump controls, and we have an alternating relay down here that's notoriously famous for alternating. The orange color here is very industry specific. We have our UPS. Yes, it's not pretty, but there's our data command stuff. So cellular modem right there, our links units, and all that good information back to their plant. We have a drive shown there, 480, and a lot of stuff that could kill you.